We also want to welcome everybody who's watching on TV 970 or will watch a rerun next week or the week after. We have a nice agenda for you today that should allow for a good amount of time for questions or discussion at the end of today's presentation. As we've done for the last number of months, we want to start out with a construction video that we've created to provide you a good look of some of the work that's in process. And then afterward, I have a few more pieces of construction update that I'll share as well. So if it's ready, why don't we go ahead and run the construction video. Good morning. This is our October construction update video. Before we get to construction underway, I just want to take a minute and thank everybody for coming out to the Promenade grand opening. We're very pleased with how it turned out. People are enjoying the dining room, lounge areas, and the coffee bar and the cocktail bar. So again, thank you very much for coming out and participating in our grand opening. There continues to be a great deal of construction activity around campus, and today we want to show you some of the work underway. Out here on the Village construction site, a lot is happening. Behind me, you see the foundation walls for Village Apartment Building number 3. This building is the first of 4 apartment buildings and clubhouse building that will be constructed in the Village area. Beyond Building 3, Building 4's footings and foundations are well underway as well. Additionally, out here in the Village area, a large amount of utility installation and improvements are being constructed. This work will continue throughout 2023. In other vibrancy construction work, the Avalon entrance redesign is well underway. This work will provide a new lobby area with a stairwell to access the hallway near the Canterbury room. This Avalon project should be completed near the end of October. We're now on the ellipse looking at the area where the pool building was. Earlier this week, demolition team took down the pool building to make way for the Vitality apartment building and the new Vital Living Center. This demolition work will continue for 4 or 5 more weeks as the construction team removes the pool foundation and excavates the building footers. We should expect some heavy noise and vibration as the excavation gets down to those footers. Due to the heavy demolition, the fitness center will need to close for a few days. You can expect more information about temporary closures from the wellness team. That's it for me today. Next up is Tom Henning with an update on a couple of other projects.
For this month's update on the elevator towers, we're going to be working on the interior finishes in the North Tower, still working on the structural in the South Tower. As you'll notice, we're up to the 3rd floor and should be topped out by mid-October. Once that happens, like the North Tower, we'll start installing the windows and finish the exterior finish work. And we'll also start the brickwork in mid-October that will wrap up the exterior finish look that you'll have for these 2 towers. After that's complete, then we'll start finishing all the final finishes, getting our final inspections with the elevators to be open for use at late November. Part of our other update is the Kathleen's and Cochran Commons renovation. You'll notice here that we're finishing up the tile work in the bathroom renovations on schedule to be finished by November 1, as well as Kathleen's finishing all our interior finishes with the flooring and the painting being completed this week. And then we're going to start installing the cabinetry next week along with the new countertop.
I want to thank Clay Motley for helping us with the video. As you can see, we did that video, I think, yesterday. It was cold and windy out there, so I appreciate his help and patience with us as we did that. A couple other pieces of construction information, just some other little projects that are happening. You might have seen some teams working in the grass area between the homes on the green. This work are patios that are being installed that will include fire pits, gas fire pits. In those areas between the 2, in the grass areas, there's two lawns, if you will, between the homes on the green. They're working on the first ones now. The second ones will come when the first are done.
And we're really pleased with finally being able to install these fire pit areas. This was a request of residents in the homes on the green that were shared with us a couple of years ago, and it's taken us some time to work this work both budgetarily and into the work plan, but it's nice. I'm certain the residents will like it once we learn to use it, and so we're hopeful that it's a success, and who knows, maybe we'll see more of these around campus in the future. Next month's video, we will show you some video of that construction, both in process and probably the finished version, at least on one side. The second, I don't know if the second will be done by then, but you'll certainly get a sense of what it looks like. You heard Tom Henning remark about the elevator progress. I do want to acknowledge those elevator towers have been delayed a little bit because of some supply chain issues with the elevator, the mechanical parts of the elevator, but not substantially. It's just a couple of weeks. So we do expect, I think as Tom said in the video, to wrap that work up in late November. Both of those two towers will come on at the same time. We had hoped we'd get one up before the other, but because of the way the elevator equipment's coming in, it looks like we're going to have to open them both at the same time. But we're really pleased with being able to make that investment. It's an important investment, one residents have asked for a long time, and we think they will be appreciated once they're finished, and I think the residents I think you all will like it. A couple of comments about the vibrancy work. You saw the pool demolition work, and if you live in the garden or you live in the tower on that end, you're feeling and hearing some of that disruption as they pull out the foundation, the slab under the pool deck, and then the footers down lower that sort of the building sits on. That work is underway right now. They're pulling big, large pieces of concrete out of the ground, and then they have to bust it into smaller pieces so they can eventually get it out of here. So that's underway now. You are going to feel that if you live on that side of the building, and you'll probably hear it from time to time. Some of that footing work, depending on where it's connecting to the existing tower and to the garden, might be a little bit louder than what you're hearing right now. But we'll know in the next week or two that the worst of that should be behind us. But I appreciate your patience and tolerance. I know it can be loud and be annoying. The other thing that's coming later in November, and I think it starts to arrive at the end of November, and it'll really start to take shape in December, is a tower crane. Now, you're probably familiar with those. You've seen them downtown, the big, large cranes with the swinging booms. That's what's going to be needed to build this new tower. And so it'll come in a series of probably 10 trucks. We'll deliver this in late November, and it'll get constructed out at the back of the ellipse, and that's how they will lift the building materials up onto the new structure as it's being built. Probably be kind of fun to watch, and it'll be interesting to see how it works, but that is going to be a big event when that tower crane goes up. And at that point, we're going to have to really, not that we aren't doing this now, but we're going to really have to make sure staff and residents stay out from that area where the crane is. So we're already doing that, but we're really going to have to focus on it when that tower crane comes. And we'll know more at the November Westminster Canterbury Monthly. We'll have the specifics of when that's going to get delivered, where it's going to go, all of that sort of stuff. At our last update, the construction team was still working through the FAA permitting for the crane and all that kind of stuff. So once that's all completed, and it might be now, I don't know, we'll share that information next month. Changing the subject a little bit, I believe last month I might have mentioned that we had been surveying our staff. As you know, every year we survey our residents. That'll be coming for you in November, and we survey the staff. On the staff side, we're changing what we've done. Historically, we've surveyed the staff once a year, and it's called an employee engagement survey. It's 13 questions about working here. We've done that once a year. And really, by the time we get through the data, we feel like the data is a little old before we really get to use it. And it's just a snapshot. It's a one-time ask, about working here. We're changing that. And so we surveyed our staff a couple weeks ago, and we're going to do 3 or 4 surveys a year. So we're going to do what we call pulse surveying. So more frequently, probably fewer questions throughout the year, but really focusing in on those areas we're trying to improve on. And we've changed the way we're doing the survey. Now we're surveying the staff using our human resource system that we own and we have control over, so we can get the results faster. We get them directly back to us. So it's still anonymous. We can't see who's responding, but we get the data immediately, and it's all aggregated back to us. So we finished our survey maybe 10 days ago. We had 67% of our staff participate in the survey, which is much better than in 2021. I don't remember the exact number, but it was in the 50%, I believe, range, and now we're at 67. And that's a much more significant amount of participation, and one we're happy with. Generally speaking, we saw improvement over the survey from 2021. And the best way I can describe it without getting down into the details is there's 13 questions on the survey. And someone can answer a question about working here as they strongly disagree, they disagree, they're neutral on it, they agree on it, or they strongly agree. And it's a question like, do you think you'll be working here in a year, in 12 months? Strongly disagree, disagree, agree, strongly agree. So we asked 13 questions. In 9 of the questions, the categories in nine of the 13 questions, the categories agree and strongly agree combined went up. And went up in some cases by a lot, up as much as 20%. So those are all really good. I mean, knowing that we've improved in 9 of the 13 areas from the staff's perception is really good. What it also, probably more importantly, does is it allows us to focus on the 4 areas where we didn't improve. And before, in 2021, most every question was down. And so it's hard to know exactly what that means, right? It's just all the scores were lower than we were used to. Now we can zero in on the 3 or 4 that are that we need to work on, and that's really good news, really helpful from a management standpoint. And so we're pleased again with the level of participation and the improvement that we saw. And some of the improvements were, I think, directly related to some efforts that we've undertaken in the last year. And that's probably the most meaningful piece, is that we're seeing what we think might be a little cause and effect, and that's hopeful. We're hoping we're going to see the same thing when we do the residents. Deborah's shared with you over the last 6 months or so, every month, the efforts that the staff have made, and in some cases the resident leadership have made, to try to address some of the feedback we got in last year's survey. So we're hoping the same thing, that we can see some improvement and we can tie it to the efforts that staff have undertaken. So we still got a little work to do to analyze the data down at the department level. That's kind of where we go next, is take this data and look at it from each department level and say, what gains have we made and what areas do we need to focus on? So that's all good. Other thing I wanted to just speak to for a second is, you saw in the video the Promenade grand opening. I want to thank everybody for coming that came to that. It was really fun to cut the ribbon and see the excitement and then experience that with you all. I think we really enjoyed your excitement about the space, and I've seen every day since. I've seen you in there, and it's fun to see us coming together in community again in a space where there's room to spread out and spend some time, and so that's nice. We've gotten pretty good reviews on dinner, and that's also really nice to hear. I want to thank Scott and his team of Melissa and Matt, who's with us today, and Brian and others who all worked to bring that project to the grand opening. It was a lot of work behind the scenes, as you can imagine. Opening that while running everything else was a lot of work, and the team did a great job with that. So I hope you're enjoying it, and thank you for coming out. Also, we're seeing a lot of good utilization of meals to go. I hope that works well for you. It certainly looks like it works pretty well compared to the meals to go that we had before. And I think from Scott's team's perspective, it's a better solution, and the numbers would the volume of you that are using it looks like it's a pretty good solution. Lastly, about this, we spoke to you last time and then at the town halls about the strategic plan and the communication of the town halls we did. I just want to remind you that we recorded one of those live sessions, and it's playing on TV 970, rerunning there, and it's also on Touchtown. And there are copies, or there were copies at least, in the business office, business centers and information centers. I know at one point we had run out, but I think they've been replenished. So if you need one, let us know. We'd be happy to get it for you, but you should find them either on Touchtown or in the business centers. That's all I have for today. I'm now going to turn it over to Mr. Blackwell. Oh, there he is. Will's going to talk to you about some of the recent changes we've learned about from our friends at the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Will?
Thank you all. Good to see you this morning. I do think we should take a moment and clap for the dining department. They did a great job. Thank you, Scott and team. So I have a few things I want to share with you today. I want to talk about vaccines first. So, independent living flu vaccines are this week. You can come to the Commons starting on Thursday, October the 6th, through Monday, October the 10th. So you all don't have to come on Thursday. You can spread it out. You can come on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday. So on Saturday, we're open from 9 a.m. to 12 noon in the Commons to give you your flu vaccine. So, flu vaccines are first. There's been some comments about the bivalent booster, the COVID booster vaccine. Those are widely available for you. They're widely available at CVS, Walgreens, Publix, any kind of pharmacy that you may choose to go to. We are providing those COVID booster vaccines. We're doing them in assisted living October the 12th and the 13th. We're going to be doing them in the independent living areas on November the 3rd. That will be the Courtyard, Homes on the Green. And on November the 4th, Tower, Garden, and Glebe. So when you come to get your flu vaccine, you can tell us what type of COVID booster vaccine you would like, because we have Pfizer and Moderna. So when you come to get your flu vaccine, you can tell us and we'll order the right amount of vaccine, because I do not like to waste vaccine. We have a certain period of time to use it, and if we don't use it, if we don't inject it, we have to get rid of it, and that's not a good thing. So please sign up when you come to get your flu vaccine. Any questions, be happy to answer those. I'll be in the area outside this the theater. Yes.
So, if you don't need a flu vaccine, you've already got one from the doctor, will you call and let you know in advance?
That's a great question. So the question is, if you don't want to come and get a flu vaccine, how do you reserve the COVID booster vaccine? Please call the clinic and let us know what type you would like. We'll add it to our list. Thank you for that question. All right. So I want to thank you so much for helping us in the Parsons Healthcare Center and Assisted Living by doing your part by screening. There's been a lot of changes that happened late Friday night, September the 23rd. CMS released new guidelines for visitation and testing. So I want to tell you a little bit about that now. You may have noticed the AccuShields that you use. These are electronic screeners that we use. They've been taken down because we no longer have to screen that way. It's going to be the honor system. So basically, if you're sick, stay away from us. Don't come near healthcare and don't come near assisted living. And what are the symptoms? Hopefully everyone knows what the symptoms are. The symptoms are on a large poster. It's posted outside of assisted living and the healthcare center. So please look at those symptoms. Do not come visit us if you have been sick, especially if you've had COVID. If you've had COVID, please stay away from us at least 10 days. In independent living, you're allowed to go back in and do things after the 5th day with no symptoms, but please don't come to the healthcare center, and please don't visit assisted living until after 10 days. Again, I want to thank you for using the AccuShields. We're no longer taking temperatures. We no longer have people waiting to help you out anymore. It's an honor system, so coming and visiting the healthcare center and assisted living is pretty much left on you. So please make sure that if you're sick, stay away from us. If you're not sick, please come see us. So when you come and visit, we ask that you sign in at the nurses station. It's called a visitation log. So if we have an outbreak, if someone gets sick and gets COVID, we need to know who came and visited that person. So what we'll look at is those visitation logs, and we'll backtrack the number of days that we need, and we will notify those folks that came to visit them. So if you come to the healthcare center, make sure that you sign the visitation log. The visitation log is located on the first floor, second floor, and third floor, right in front of the nurses station. So what do you do if you come to healthcare? Don't come sick. What do you do when you come in the healthcare center and the assisted living? Make sure you sign your name on the visitation log. Any questions? Yes. Thank you. I was getting to that. So, mask, we still have to continue wearing masks in healthcare and assisted living. We have to wear masks based on the community transmission rate. And what does that mean? We're in Henrico County, and it's high. It's really high right now. It's been high forever. I don't think it's ever going away personally, but anyway, it's really high. I think it's like 20-something% transmission rate of COVID right now. So we have to wear a mask, and we will ask you to wear a mask when you come and visit. And you know how to wear a mask: cover your nose and your mouth. If you cover your mouth and not your nose, you're not helping us at all. Any other questions? You must wear a mask, yes, in healthcare. Yes, ma'am.
Go back to the COVID vaccine.
Okay.
If you happen to have a bad reaction to the Pfizer vaccine, would you recommend using Moderna the next time?
So the question is, if you had a reaction to Pfizer, would you switch and use Moderna? That is your choice. I can tell you the booster, the bivalent booster, Moderna is a larger dose than the Pfizer this time. So Moderna is a 0.5 and the Pfizer is a 0.3. Previously, Moderna was a 0.3 and Pfizer was a 0.5. So it's your choice. It's a roll of the dice. You can mix and match. You can mix your vaccines. Now, if you start out with Pfizer, you can go to Moderna. You can go to Pfizer. You can go to Moderna. It's just left up to you. It's your choice. Those are great questions. Wow. I'll just go back to my office. Good questions, everybody. All right. So I want to talk to you about testing. So previously in the healthcare center, we tested based on our vaccination status. So if you had not been fully vaccinated, then we had to test you. Based on the transmission rate, we were testing our employees twice a week. We were testing residents based on the transmission rate, and all that's changed. It's no longer required based on vaccination status. That's a huge relief for the staff in the healthcare center. It's a lot of work to test these folks. It's a lot of work to test all these employees because we have employees around the clock. So it's a lot of work for testing. So that's a good thing for us. We're very excited about not having to test. All right, so when you come to the healthcare center, are you on quarantine? You are no longer placed on quarantine if you come to the healthcare center unless you have symptoms. So let's just say you go to the hospital, you have pneumonia, you're still coughing, you're still running a fever, and they discharge you and you need to come to the healthcare center. Are we going to test you? Yes, because you have symptoms. But if you go to the hospital, have a knee operation, come to the healthcare center for rehab, you're all good. We're not going to test you for COVID at that time. We're only testing if you have symptoms. Any questions about testing? Again, I want to thank you all for all that you have done to help us in the healthcare center and to help our community control COVID. It's been a long road. These changes are so good for our staff. We've all worked so hard in the healthcare center and assisted living to keep the numbers down. So we appreciate all of you, and this is a huge relief for us. Next up is the Employee Christmas Fund.
Good morning, good people. ECF, NATO, NBC, TGIF. Well, I like the last one, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday, but it means something very different to me now than it used to. Now, I think of what happens on Friday is Anthony from Housekeeping comes into my apartment and cleans up the mess that I've made all week. And one of the things that I'm thankful for on Friday is being able to climb into that bed with those nice fresh sheets, real crisp and smell good and everything. How thankful we are, and think of how that's repeated all across our campus. Engineering and food supply and serving, all of those things that are given to us by the staff here and the employees here. Employees Christmas Fund. Our goal this year is $560,000. We've got a little over $200,000 now, but we need your help, and we hope that all of you are going to take seriously the lyrics, the words of our Christmas Fund song. It's Employees Christmas Fund. Isn't it sweet to reward our loyal workers is an act that can't be beat. Thank you.
All right, that's a tough act to follow. Thank you, Dr. Blake. Good morning. I'm excited to be here with you today to highlight what an exciting month it is. October is Westminster Canterbury's Active Aging Month. Active Aging Week is a nationally recognized celebration that was initiated by the International Council of Active Aging, as we refer to as the ICAA. This event is to celebrate aging and to promote the benefits of a healthy lifestyle. The campaign's overriding goal is to provide many exciting opportunities through wellness and exercise in safe and friendly and fun atmospheres. And this includes all dimensions of wellness. The ICAA recognizes this as a week-long campaign, October 3rd through 9th. But here at Westminster Canterbury, we decided to go for the month and created Active Aging Month. So wellness is working with many other departments, such as recreation, cultural arts, foundation, and pastoral care, to promote several special events throughout the month. I hope you've seen our posters throughout the campus and read additional information through Touchtown, The Tales, and TV 970. While we have many events going on, I wanted to highlight just a few of them. The Ramp Blitz, which I know Gail will speak about with you in just a minute. We have several Alzheimer's awareness events going on, including the Memory Walk this Friday. A new and exciting opportunity to hear and learn about the Handpan Band and Flow Arts. Several off-site excursions throughout the month. Music in the Sanctuary, Chocolates with the Chaplains, the 2022 Rock and Roll Health and Wellness Fair, and several wonderful theater performances right here. You may have noticed that the October 20th performance has changed. We have rescheduled the Madsmen group to June of 2023, but in its place, on the same day at the same time, we will have Nashville recording artist and rising star Tony Jackson and our very own Westminster Canterbury Clay Motley playing some of our favorite country tunes. We're looking forward to that. There's also a newly added show at the end of October for here in the theater, so be sure to check your tails for more information on that. We're going to round out the month with our famous fall costume parade and a Boo Bingo Bash later that afternoon on Halloween, October 31st. And as a reminder, all of this information can be found in the Tales and on Touchtown app. We hope that you will enjoy this busy but very fun month. I also wanted to take a minute to provide you with an update on our partnership with Covenant Woods. If you're a pool user, you know that we have been taking residents over to Covenant Woods twice a week to go swimming. The residents and staff at Covenant Woods have been very friendly and welcoming to all of us coming over, and we're very grateful for the use of their beautiful facilities. And as a thank you to Covenant Woods, we have invited a limited number of Covenant Woods residents over to enjoy this beautiful space and join us for some of our upcoming performances. So we're looking forward to that partnership. It's off to a great start, and we look to a great future with that. If you have any questions about the information I shared today, please feel free to give me a call. And also just take a look at the posters, Touchtown, TV 970, and the Tales. We hope to see you soon at some of the events. Next up is Gail.
Well, good morning. Good to see you. And before I get into talking about the ramplets that I'm all dressed for and ready to go, I wanted to mention, as you know, I like to talk about communications and make sure that you find lots of ways to know what's going on. So please do tune in to Touchtown. If you haven't already gotten your Touchtown app on your phone, tablet, or computer, let me know and we'll help you get that done. There's a couple cool things on Touchtown right now, and those are webcams that show you what's going on in the world of WCR construction. So there's one that's pointing to the vibrancy, the two big vibrancy projects. One is showing the Vitality Apartments, and the other showing construction for the Village Apartments. And so you can watch that, and you know, you can see heavy equipment going back and forth, and this brick being laid, and that one. So anyhow, it is kind of cool. And of course, there's lots of other things on Touchtown, like, for example, what Melissa was just talking about. But today is a very special day for this whole entire community, and it's one that I'm super excited about. Today is the start of Ramp Blitz 4, and I'll bet there's a whole bunch of you that have signed up to work out there putting together ramp components. And I'm really thrilled that residents and staff are working together at the beginning here of Active Aging Month on a project that builds teamwork between all of us and also is a wonderful outreach to seniors in need in our community. When these ramps get installed on the homes of seniors out in our community, it's often the first time in a long time that people have been able to get in and out of their own homes on their own. So think about what difference that could make. So thank you very, very much. There are more than 200 volunteers that are already signed up, and they're out there at work right now. The second shift is already going. So that's pretty exciting. Everyone who works gets a wonderful purple foundation t-shirt and a voucher for the food truck. So there's a food truck every day. So we're excited about that. And I just wanted to let you know that your foundation is a big supporter of wellness opportunities on this campus and healthy aging support. It's one of our primary areas of fundraising, and we're very proud to be able to support our wellness team. We're looking forward to all that they will offer you as they are growing their program in anticipation of the new Vital Living Center. So you're going to be hearing more and more about great things that are happening to benefit you and help you age in a healthy way. I also wanted to mention that Hurricane Ian has really done a mess, as you know, in Florida, and it has had a horrible effect on many seniors. It's had a horrible effect on quite a few senior living organizations down in that area. 5 years ago, there was another devastating hurricane in Florida, and residents came to me and said, could we help? Could we support seniors down in Florida? So I just want you to know that we are opening up with Leading Age, which is the National Association of Nonprofit Aging Services Organizations, to make donations down there. Your foundation is going to make a donation as part of our outreach effort. And if anyone is interested in supporting seniors through the Leading Age Disaster Assistance Fund, please just write your check, put it in an envelope, and give it to our foundation offices, and we'll make sure that you're included in that effort. So thank you. I'm sure you're all concerned about those seniors, so please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And now, Deborah, please come tell us some good stuff. Thanks, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. Before we get started, do we have any new residents or staff members in the theater right now so we can welcome you? If you could just raise your hand or stand for us, we would love to say hello. I don't see any, but I want to say to all that are watching, we're just so glad that you're here, and we're doing everything we can to make you feel as welcome as possible. So thank you for that. Last year, back in November, we conducted the Resident Satisfaction Survey. We're now preparing to conduct that survey again for this month in November. Our partners in conducting this survey is the Holleran. Holleran is a community engagement research and consulting company. I will be updating you through the tales, touchdown, and memos, the exact dates of the survey, as we have one meeting that will occur on Friday that will give us that timeline. Last year, you received the surveys in the 1st of November, and then you had a 2-week turnaround for that, and I'm anticipating that'll be the same this year, but I'll be keeping you updated. Knowing that our next monthly will be right at the beginning of the survey, I just wanted to remind you of a few things that have occurred over the last year. Basically, over the last few months, as John mentioned, we've been giving you an update of how we've been addressing some of the areas that you cited on the survey. Our highest scores were staff friendliness, safety and security of our grounds, and the overall satisfaction with the way we were handling COVID. Our staff has strived to maintain your support in all three of these categories, and I'm really pleased to say, as Will mentioned to you, though we've not eliminated COVID and its impact on us, we have been able to loosen up some of the COVID protocols, and with your help, our community is seeing less and less cases, and for those that do end up with COVID, they are faring pretty well as far as how they're handling that with the boosters and the vaccines. Our lowest scores were quality of food, quality of dining experience, and the quality of the beauty and barber shops. Salon services, as you heard from David James back several months ago, is now running at full speed. Staffing has increased in all 4 of the salons, have regular schedules and increased operating hours since this time last year. David has instituted a new training program, new product lines, and that long waiting list no longer exists. Quite an improvement, I'd say. A big thank you to David and his team. Dining a year later, though we're still working through the major changes in dining that resulted from the opening of the Promenade last week, let us see what has changed. Last year at this time, we only had the Marketplace and the Canterbury room. They were the only 2 venues that were open. They had severely limited availability. We now have 4 venues with the Marketplace, Canterbury Room, Promenade, and Camilla's. Let me just share with you a few of the things that Scott and his team have been able to accomplish. The quality, variety, and choices have improved due to the opening of the Promenade, and with made-to-order meals and a new Sunday brunch experience. Camilla's Coffee and Lounge is open, offering a wide variety of offerings, and Bella's will open up in October or early November. The reopening of the Meals to Go have been very successful. The quality of the food and the service has improved greatly. Residents can see what they're getting. The food is hotter and remains so when they take it back to their apartments. Residents can obtain a meal when they want and no longer have to wait for delivery. We've eliminated the 7-day rolling period and reservations required. We still strongly recommend the reservations, as we don't want residents to have to wait for a table or be turned away. We've hired a new person to assist in managing the reservations, which has improved the callback times. Additionally, we have created reservations and email address so that residents can have another method to make their reservations. The new menu offers healthy choice options. However, we plan to roll out more upon completion of the new software program. Completion will enable us to list nutritional data on the menus. Rollout will be sometime at the end of this year. Dining is still challenged with staffing, however. There has been a shift in the labor market in our favor. We are still onboarding staff weekly and assessing ideas to maximize the turnover. We've created a single-page takeaway and list dining hours of operations for the residents' convenience. I know that's really been helpful to you. Additionally, we've established a single dining-specific page within the resident directory dedicated to providing hours of operations and contact information, plus the dining reservation email address. The corner store now offers a full retail wine outlet as an additional level of service. So we continue to work through the kinks, and now we still have room for some improvements. Scott is open to your comments and suggestions, and feel free to reach out to Scott, because that's how we learn what we maybe need to work on a little more. Though dining and salon services were the lowest scored items, we also have worked diligently on housekeeping, facilities, programming, and communication. Gail shared with you the improvements in communication. I won't go over all of those, but we have so many different ways to reach you now. Other areas that we've addressed and shared the updates over the last few months has been facilities and housekeeping. Francis, our new manager, has told us about how he is going to, with his 15 years of experience in the hospital environment, Francis spent time assessing his department, implemented additional staff training, efficiencies in cleaning, floor care, and laundry services. Francis is striving to improve the work order system and the resident move process. Francis has concentrated on hiring new staff and efforts to retain his current staff. He has been successful in bringing in new hires and holding his management team accountable. Francis has also instituted a frequent rounding of common spaces within the residence to confirm quality control. From the facilities department, they have addressed timely maintenance requests and other facility concerns. And in programming, as you heard from Melissa, despite the construction, classes continue. The fitness areas offer 2 different areas, one being our fitness center, one being over in the courtyard. We have the arrangements to have access to a pool, as Melissa shared with you. And of course, we're celebrating that Healthy Aging Month. Right here in the Sarah Bell November Theater, we have a full season welcoming you back into the Sarah Bell November Theater and outside spaces. The art studio, the woodworking shop, classes are being well attended. Excursions, classes, groups, and everything that you could possibly want. From our pastoral care team, they're offering more programs than ever before. So I hope this summary will help you to remember how far we've come in this last year. No, we're not perfect, but we have been listening, and please do take the time to fill out the survey, rate us, but also give us those comments, because I have to tell you, it made it much easier to have the comments, because then we could really drill down and find out what you meant when there was an area that needed improvement. So thank you very much for doing that, and thank you for the future when you do fill out your survey. Before I move on to the suggestion box, I do have an announcement from the Truist Bank, and I'm just going to read this directly to you. Westminster Canterbury residents will need to provide their state-issue ID, driver's license, or passport in order to withdraw cash or cash a check from the Truist Bank branch on the lower level. Truist Bank will no longer be able to use the resident ID badges that were given to you by security. That's the major change. Before, you could go in, you could use this, and they would accept that. But the bank has changed their rules, and they want to make sure that we are aware of that. Some of you might wonder how you can go about getting that state-issued ID, and Whitney is working diligently with DMV right now to find out when we can have the mobile DMV revisit our campus, but unfortunately right now they're not going to all facilities, and we're waiting for them to give us that approval. So more to come on that, but please, when you go to the bank and you're doing your transactions, be sure to take your ID with you other than this particular ID. All right, I'm going to move on to suggestion box. We have several suggestions, some really good ones. The first one has to do with the postal mailbox, which is located outside the Brown Garden. We had comments that it's not very convenient, and we agree with you. It was only moved there due to the construction, and we do plan to relocate it once the construction is complete. So that was a great suggestion. The next one has to do with our telephone system and the technology being outdated. We've been asked to look at the technology with our telephones that are located in your apartments, and Robert Mann and his team are seeking more information about that, so you will hear more. The next one has to do with wanting an ice maker or adding an ice maker to the refrigerator in the 5th floor on the courtyard in your lounge space, and then a suggestion about the roof terrace also having one. Jason and his team are working on that. If we're able to do that with the piping and all that, he is going to make that happen for you in the near future. Another suggestion has to do with the TV that's in the 5th floor courtyard lounge being updated on how to control that. And there was a ticket created for an instruction sheet to be created for that area. If it's not there yet, it will be there. The next one, a couple of suggestions have to do with the landscaping, some weeds here and there and things of that nature. Jason's team is all over that right now. The next one, I'm going to read it to you just so you can hear exactly what the resident was saying, because I think it's a really good suggestion and something that the executive team will be working with our management to help our staff understand. In the interest of outstanding customer service, I suggest the staff not use answers like short-staffed or too busy when residents make a request. A better response may be, "We are happy to take care of that tomorrow," or "Would next Thursday work?" Residents are actually very much aware of the staffing issues everywhere. I believe being empathetic and upfront will go a long way with resident satisfaction. So thank you for that. I mean, sometimes some of the suggestions are a little tough to hear, but then you go, that's a really good suggestion. So Chelsea Naylor, who's our VP of Workforce, will be helping us with that one. There were a couple suggestions about TV 970 and programming, which Gail and her team are addressing. Then there was a follow-up question about, like I said, about getting rid of some of the weeds. There was 2 or 3 of those, so we're taking care of that. Concerns about Kathleen's and the acoustics in that area, making sure we're looking out for that when we're redoing that area, which is happening. And the 2 last suggestions, one is about posting the speeding and warning tickets in the tails monthly, or to encourage residents and staff to slow down. And Glendon is going to take care of that, putting some information in the tails so you're up to date. I will tell you there are quite a few of those tickets being written. And last, please print out the opening balance on the meal tickets along with the end, the balance so you can keep up with your spending. And according to Marty in our accounting department, we're reaching out to our vendor and seeing if we can't make that happen for you. So quite a few suggestions, really good suggestions. I really appreciate it. Please put your name on your suggestions so we can reach out to you personally to go into a little bit more detail, or to make sure that we're answering that question in detail. So other than that, I'm going to turn it over to John. We have some time to take some questions, and our managers are sitting here in the theater to answer as well. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Deborah. It was great to hear all those suggestions. It's really important that if you have an idea, you see something, share it, because that is a big part of our information loop, is how we hear about things we need to focus on. And I hope some of what Deborah shared in terms of this year's priorities resonated, and you've seen some of those efforts. But let me stop talking, take a breath, and we have microphones for anybody who wants to ask a question or talk about something. Who's first? No one? Really? This might be the first time in 7 years. Well, going once, going twice. All right, I guess that's good news. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.